Hello and welcome to the famous Matches of Magic channel. Today we'll be presenting the Legacy Championship Finals at Eternal Weekend 2022. This matchup is between Hank Zhong and Jay. I'll just call him Jay Wo as I can't pronounce his name. This matchup is between 4-color Control by Hank, featuring Uro, which can escape from the graveyard. He is playing lots of creature kill spells such as Swords to Plowshares and Prismatic End, which can kill any permanent, and since he can produce 4 different colors of mana, this can kill pretty much anything in the format. He has a couple of Snapcaster Mages, and he has Expressive Iteration that both players have. Expressive Iteration is a super powerful card draw spell that has been making a splash all weekend. The only permission in the main deck is Force of Will, but he has both Pyroblast and Hydroblast out of the board. Now let's take a look at what his opponent is playing. Jay is playing a blue-red Delver deck with both Delver of Secrets and the red Delver of Secrets Dragon's Rage Channeler. Dragon's Rage Channeler can only get online if he has Delirium, which is why he runs the 2 Mishra's Baubles. He has lots of card draw with both Brainstorm Ponder and Expressive Iteration. His creature suite involves Murktide Regent and Brazen Bower, as well as the 8 Delver of Secrets. He only has 3 Wastelands in the main deck, and his permission suite involves Force of Will and Daze. Now let's get down to the match. Jay mulligan to 6, and he's deciding if he should keep this here. You don't really want to go to 5, so you really have to have a bad hand in Legacy to go to 5, especially with all the cantrips. So let's see, and he keeps the 6. There goes the 1 to the bottom. Judge says they can begin, so they are off. Hank starts with a Misty Rainforest and passes it. Let's see Jay's mulligan, how it turned out. He starts with a Mishra's Bauble. He cracks it immediately, looks at the top card of his deck. He plays a Flooded Strand, passes. He does not crack it, so he likes the top card of his deck, and he draws it. Hank plays a tapped Mystic Sanctuary, so he wastes his Mystic Sanctuary. In case you don't know what that does, Mystic Sanctuary comes into play untapped if you control 3 or more islands, and if it comes into play untapped, you may put an instant or sorcery from your graveyard on top of your library, so you can fetch that with a sack land, so that is a very powerful card, and that is wasted. And Jay drops a Delver of Secrets and passes the turn. Hank plays a Scalding Tarn and passes it. Now, Jay reveals a Brainstorm off the Delver of Secrets, so he flips it. Jay is going to crack his Flooded Strand to get a Volcanic Island. And he gets in with the Delver of Secrets. Both players have a Mystic Sanctuary in their deck that they can search up. Hank plays an Expressive Iteration. Notice he has 1 black bordered Volcanic and 1 white bordered. He reveals a Force of Will, a Wasteland, and a Daze. So he's going to exile that Wasteland, obviously, because he can play that immediately. And let's see, You can either keep the Force of Will or the Daze, and then shuffle the other one back. I can't see which one he kept. Let's see if we can see his hand or not. Probably the Force of Will. End of turn, Hank casts a Brainstorm. He does not crack a fetch land, so he likes all those cards. He plays a Wasteland of his own. Passes the turn. Jay plays a Brainstorm. Misty Rainforest. Full grip of cards there. Gets in with the Delver of Secrets. Scalding Tarn is cracked by Hank. Gets a 2 sack lands cracked. He gets a Savannah and a Trop. Now he tries to cast an Endurance to block. I'm sure there's going to be a fight over this. So a Force of Will removing a Ponder by Jay. Force of Will removing an Uro by Hank. That resolves. So Jay's graveyard is going to be shuffled into Jay's deck. And Endurance is going to try to block the Delver of Secrets. Because Endurance has reach. And it's a 3/4. He bounces it with his Brazen Borrower, who goes on an adventure though. So Delver of Secrets lives another day. Brazen Borrower is now in the adventure zone. Hank drops a Caracas and he removes it with a Prismatic Ending. So finally that Delver gets removed and he wastelands the black bordered volcanic island and passes the turn. Polluted Delta for Jay. That is all. Nothing for Hank, so right back. So some speedy turns here. Cracks the Polluted Delta for another volcanic island. End of turn, Brazen Bower. Getting in there, but that meets a Swords to Plowshares. Ponder for Jay. He is going to shuffle. Hank loves seeing that. Scalding Tarn. Now we're going to get some delving action as a Murktide Regent enters the battlefield, but just one instant or sorcery is removed, so we just have a 4/4 Murktide Regent. Rather unimpressive for that card. Ponder for Hank. Lots of cantrip action going on here. He is going to keep them. Passes the turn. Gets in there with the 4/4 Regent. Wasteland. Gets rid of the Caracas. Only 3 Wastelands in Jay's deck. I'm sure he'd love the 4th one in this matchup. With just the one basic. Or sorry, I don't think there's any basics. Yeah, 4 color control has the one basic island. Let's see if this Delver can flip, and he does. He flips it off a lightning bolt. Jay does not want to see that. These players have some really, really good looking cards with the black bordered lightning bolts there. This game is not looking good for Hank as he is at 7 with a Murktide Regent, a Delver of Secrets coming at him, and a Lightning Bolt in hand for Jay. So looks like we are going to be going on to game 2 shortly here. Flooded Strand searches up Tropical Island. Hank goes to 6. What is this? Is this another Endurance? Yes, it is. Not sure what this is going to accomplish. I guess he can block 1 and force of will the lightning bolts. Well, a Brazen Bower casting Petty Theft to bounce the Endurance. Force of will trying to counter the Petty Theft, but then the lightning bolt will finish him off. So we are on to game number 2. Jay goes up 1-0. So we will be on to game number 2 shortly as Hank packs him up. Let's see if both players can keep their hands this time, and they both do. So Hank starts with the 1 basic and a Ponder. Of course, it is an unhinged foil basic. Jay has a Dragon Rage Chandler off turn 1 off a Scalding Tarn. Hank tries to resolve a Carpet of Flowers, but that meets a Force of Will. That card is extremely powerful. But that meets a Force of Will. Dragon Rage Chandler will surveil a card into the graveyard, though, trying to get to that Delirium as quickly as possible. Another Ponder for Hank. Brainstorm for Jay. Flooded Strand, get in there. Taiga. Uro. Draw a card, gain 3, and explore. Play an extra land, but it looks like no extra land, so that is not a very good sign for Hank. You really want to hit that extra land when possible. Jay searches up another volcanic island, then an expressive iteration. He sees if he wants to surveil there off the expressive iteration before it resolves, but he hits another wasteland off the expressive iteration. That is huge. That's exactly what you want to do. So he's going to play that expressive iteration. Immediately he exiles that. Didn't see what he drew there, but hitting that wasteland is amazing. Only 3 again. It seems like he has 6 or something, but he immediately goes for that Taiga. Brainstorm for Hank. He really doesn't want to get Brainstorm locked here. This game could be over quickly. Oh, Misty Rainforest, so we get to play on. Scalding Tarn for Jay. Still no Delirium, but Counterbalance attempting to hit play. Only 1 Counterbalance in the sideboard of Jay. He surveils again. Hank searches up a volcanic off the Misty Rainforest and attempts to Red Elemental Blast. That meets a Hydroblast. Or sorry, I think that was a Pyroblast. That meets a Hydroblast. So we got some fighting there. Counterbalance is now in play. Life from the Loam for Hank, trying to get 3 lands back. Let's see if Counterbalance can reveal. It just reveals a Volcanic Island, the 4th one, so he's going to get Taiga, Misty, and Misty back. That is going to be extremely helpful. Especially if he can escape that Uro again. Cracks that Misty. Gets a Savannah. He knows that the coast is clear because the volcanic is on top, so he gets rid of that Dragon Rage Chandler. Ponder for Jay. He'll be able to set up the top of his deck for counterbalance, so that is huge. He drew a Brazen Bower there. Now he's going to delve a Murktide Regent, so this Murktide is going to be pretty big. There's a lot of instants and sorceries in his graveyard, so may actually be maximum size here if he wants it to be. So I believe I saw a Hydroblast on top, so he probably has a 1 on top if he wants it to be. Look at all those black bordered duels from Hank. Those are gorgeous. So jealous. Hank's deck is just so gorgeous. Looks like he's gonna flash back or escape that Uro from his graveyard. Four, 5 cards. So he's leaving the Life from the Loam in his graveyard, so he is going to go for a Pyroblast on the Uro. He's going to try to Hydroblast it, and he reveals another Pyroblast off the top, so that is a pretty sick play from Jay, who still has an 8/8 Murktide Regent. He is getting in there. Now we know that he has another Pyroblast in his hand as well. But Hank has a huge grip of cards in his hand still, so don't count him out yet. If he wants, he could probably cast that Uro again this turn, as he still has a lot of cards in his graveyard, plus the Life from the Loam. That Uro really wants to escape. Expressive iteration for Hank, and that resolves. Looks like Jay knows the top card of his deck, so he is not going to reveal it. he is going to exile a Pyroblast, so he has access to a Pyroblast this turn, which is interesting. Now he's going to cast it on the Murktide Regent. So 1 is safe as well, so it looks like Jay most likely has a land on top. So 1s and 2 are safe this turn from counterbalance, and there's a little head shake from Jay. Jay goes end of turn, Brazen Bower. This really seemed like Jay's game here, but somehow it looks like Hank has managed to take control. Jay really, wow, surprisingly now Hank looks like he's winning, but a minute ago I really thought Jay had it. We do know that Jay has 1 Price of Progress in his sideboard. I'm assuming he brought that in, so if he can draw that and resolve it, that'll be an instant win for him. Searches up his Mystic Sanctuary and gets his Expressive Iteration back. And then casts an Endurance. And he reveals his own Expressive Iteration, I believe, there. So Endurance resolves. Shuffles Jay's graveyard back onto the bottom of his library. Hank draws another Expressive Iteration, and it looks like Hank has taken full control over this deck, and he should be able to get back his Uro this turn if he so wants, but I believe Jay still has a Pyroblast in his hand, so he can just counter the Uro, but he may want to make him use it anyway. He probably does. Another black bordered Tundra there. All black bordered duels. I can't tell if that Mystic Sanctuary is foil or not. If not, I'm a little disappointed. It may be foil. Looks like Uro is escaping from the graveyard, and it meets the Pyroblast just as we thought. Expressive Iteration meets a Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage does not get countered by the counterbalance, but a 1 is on top, so if the Snapcaster Mage tries to get a Pyroblast on the expressive iteration or hydroblast, it'll just get countered. So there's no point in trying to counter the expressive iteration. So expressive iteration is going to resolve. Another expressive iteration is going into the hand of J, I believe. Looks like a Ponder is getting exiled and something else is getting shuffled into the deck. So a Ponder is about to get cast by J. So now the top of the deck is going to switch. So he can think about casting that Hydroblast again and see if he leaves a 1 on top or not. So that's interesting. Mystic Sanctuary is going to put Expressive Iteration on top. Delver, so now he could cast that Hydroblast, so I don't know why he doesn't cast a Hydroblast in response on something. An opportunity, there's a 2 on top, so I believe it gives it flashback, right? Snapcaster gives it flashback, so he can do it at any time. So yeah, he could cast that Hydroblast on something. Perhaps kill the... Oh, there's nothing red, so my apologies. Yeah, no. You can only kill red or counter red things. There's nothing red, so it's useless. My apologies. Looks like Hank's deciding if he wants to dredge or not. He decides not to. Is this another Ponder? Brainstorm. Have all the Brainstorms and Ponders been cast yet? It seems like it. Jeez. He could dredge off of the Brainstorm draws, so he does not dredge off of the Brainstorm. He draws 2 off the Brainstorm. He could still dredge off the 3rd Brainstorm draw. He's thinking about it. And he does. He goes for the dredge from the Life from the Loam. He is still going to have to put 2 cards back from his hand on top of his library. He could put the Life from the Loam on top of his library, but I don't know why he would do that. What a nail biter we have here. Do we have enough to escape Uro again? Looks like we do. Uro really wants to escape. And it finally resolves. Uro enters the battlefield. He gets to draw a card, gain 3 life, and put a land into play. Wow, Hank has taken control of this game. He's even getting in there with Snapcaster Mage. Has Hank pulled this game out? Or will Jay just randomly draw a Price of Progress? I mean, he is seeing so much of his deck, so he could see the Price of Progress and have a Force of Will to protect it, but I see a red card there. Looks like a Pyroblast. I think I saw another Wasteland. He loves to hit those Wastelands off of the expressive iterations. He exiles a Delver of Secrets. I believe he missed a Delver trigger. I might be wrong, but another expressive iteration. I see another red card there. Where is the Price of Progress? So now Delver and Ponder are exiled, and he is casting the Ponder. Still no Price of Progress. He's shuffling. He may just be trying to find the Price of Progress. That may be his goal. Uro may be getting an attack here. If Uro attacks, he's going to get to draw another card, gain 3 more life. That may just be too much for Jay to handle. Jay thought about jumping with the Delver of Secrets on Uro, but decides not to. Can't tell, is that another arrow? No, that is a prismatic end. Attempting to remove the counterbalance, and wow, Hank pulled that game out. Amazing. So we are going to see a game 3 in the finals of the Legacy Championship North America. Hank mulliganed to 6, but Jay kept. Jay starts out with a Rage Channeler. Hank starts with the Scalding Tarn. Ponder for Jay. He decides not to surveil the top card of his library. Keeps them, draws. Flooded Strand. Gets in there. Savannah for Hank, and just goes for the prismatic end on the Dragon Rage Channeler. Jay cracks the Flooded Strand for Brainstorm to get the Surveil trigger. He decides not to surveil the card, so he draws the 3. He's going to have to put 2 back. He does not protect it, so Dragon Rage Channeler is exiled. Expressive Iteration. Let's see if he can hit another Wasteland off of it. That would be pretty sick. Actually, Hank is going to crack that Scalding Tarn and see if he can counter it. He is going to go for the Pyroblast on Expressive Iteration. No land drop for Jay. That is huge. Another tapped Mystic Sanctuary here in Game 3 for Hank. He does not want to miss lane drops. Looks like a Beta Island for Jay that he drew and passes the turn. See a Force of Will and a Hydroblast in Jay's hand, and not sure what else. Brainstorm for Hank. Foil Mercadian Mask Brainstorm. Trying to hit those land drops. Finds the Tundra, but no sack land to shuffle away any of those cards, so not the greatest, but he'll take it. End of turn Brazen Bower to try to get a threat on the board. That resolves. No Swords to Plowshares. Gets in for 3. Polluted Delta for Jay, passes the turn. End of turn, Hank is going for the Snapcaster Mage. Try and flash back the Pyroblast to kill that Brazen Borrower, which works. Get another threat off the board for Jay. So Hank's been doing a great job of killing all of Jay's creatures. So good board control for Hank. Jay's gonna have some trouble here. Hank has an expressive iteration. In response, Jay cracks the polluted delta. Looks like he's... what's going on? He's holding priority. And in response to the polluted delta trigger, he is casting Price of Progress. Interesting. So that would be 2, 4, 6, 8 damage for Hank. Is that going to resolve? Looks like nothing Hank, nothing Hank can do. So is Jay, so I think Jay can actually search up the Mystic Sanctuary here and get the Price of Progress back. This just shows the power of Mystic Sanctuary. So Hank still has the expressive iteration resolving. That's going to help him find an answer to the Price of Progress, but this is not looking very good for Hank. He's all the way down to 7, and Jay only took 4 from the Price of Progress because the polluted delta trigger had not resolved. So let's see what Hank can find off of the expressive iteration. He passed the turn and Jay drew the Price of Progress, so if he can get that Price of Progress to resolve, it is game over. So, did Hank get a counterspell? White, it looks like he's gonna Swords his own Snapcaster to go to 9, but in response, Jay is gonna Pyroblast the Snapcaster to fizzle the Swords to Plowshares. In response, Hank is gonna Brainstorm to try and find an answer. If not, Jay is going to be the Legacy Champion, and off of a double Price of Progress, Jay wins. And actually, Jay only has 1 Price of Progress in his sideboard. So off of the 1 Price of Progress, he was able to cast it twice off of the Mystic Sanctuary to take down the match. He only got in with the Brazen Borrower 1 time and cast the Price of Progress twice and some sacklands for Hank. All of that to kill him. Wow, what a Legacy Championship match. That second game was epic, but congratulations, Jay. Thank you so much for watching. Please support the channel simply by liking and subscribing to the channel. Have a great day.